All right, very good. Well, welcome everybody. Good afternoon here on the first day of April. So I guess I should say Happy April Fool's Day, or yeah, Happy April Fool's Day. That's what today is. Tonight is also the start of Passover, so happy that also. And so we will also get started. So um, I've been thinking about the idea of presence and in sort of reading a little bit about mindfulness, one of the things that it talks about is that when we are mindful and when we are mindful of other people that we are with, that it relieves suffering or it gives other people comfort, it makes people feel heard, kind of all of those things. And, one of the things that I know when I teach, and from what some of my students at the college write about when they kind of write in their journals and things of that nature, is that they are often writing about how they've learned to be just present. And in and of itself, that presence, which really implies being there for the other person, really opening up and hearing and seeing the other person as a total person. Um, and in a sense, through that process, connecting really gives people comfort and is a good starting point for the helping process. But just by doing that, we give people comfort. So, as I was reading about that, I was thinking a lot about how, you know, we we meditate, I think, to, for our own wellness, for our own awareness, to understand how our minds work. But by doing that, and when other people are involved in that process, so talking to somebody, listening to somebody, that our mindfulness, even in and of itself, is a sort of a therapeutic process. It has therapeutic qualities, and it has therapeutic qualities both for us as the person that is being mindful and for the people around us who are kind of in our sphere. So I just thought that was just a really nice way and a helpful way to look at it. And, I sense that that's true. And because I sense like when I do and teach meditation with everybody, and especially in person, even when I teach online, um, I know that when I'm done, I feel it's hard to describe what it is that I feel, I think, but I feel some sense of contentment or calmness or value or something that is good. And I sense that from the group as if everybody is leaving in a better place perhaps than they came in. And so, I think that's really good. And I noticed that actually today when I was teaching at the Oshkosh Y, when we were done, one of the individuals in the group, said to me, I really like that idea of just breathing and just focusing on that to try to control my thoughts. And I thought, there it is again, that sense of being mindful and sharing that in and of itself allows us to connect in a positive way. So I just thought that was a really nice, it was a really nice moment in my day. So that was good. All right. So now that I've talked as I do, we will get into our meditation for the day. So let me get my watch all set and we'll go from there. All right. So as we get settled today and we sit in our places, we sit in our homes, our chairs, on our beds, on the floor, wherever it is that you happen to be, and we settle ourselves in and we take a nice deep breath inward and out. And what I noticed for myself as I do this is I felt rushed because I was just running a little bit behind, trying to do some things in the house. I can feel my heart moving a little faster. I wouldn't call it racing, but not at its resting speed. And I can just sort of feel it in my shoulders, in my body. So the thing we bring with us today is to sort of recognize where in our bodies, where in our minds, we perhaps are racing a little bit, or perhaps we are feeling rushed or feeling whatever emotions that we bring with us today as we set aside some time for engaging in our group and our mindfulness. So as I start, I just want to be thankful for the group and express my gratitude for everybody attending and for being here and for participating and being a part of this community. So as we sit and get settled and we breathe in slowly and breathe out slowly, today we'll start with a breathing exercise where we'll count 4 breaths in, take a short 1 count break, and then exhale for 4 breaths to help slow us down, perhaps really to help slow me down. So we breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, and we breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4. And as we breathe in with our count, we want to match the movement of our mind to the movement of our breath, connecting both our body and our mind, our conscious awareness together. They're always really connected, but to be aware of that connection, almost like music matching our breath to our thinking, almost like we're singing a song in our mind. Slowly in 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. And out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we continue our breath, and now we transfer and start to feel it in our bodies. We feel our lungs filling up as we breathe in slowly. And then we feel the exhale as our lungs exhale the air in there. And so we continue to breathe in with a focus on our lungs, feeling them fill with air, those little balloon-like objects that fill up. The oxygen comes in. It gets drawn into our bodies, and we exhale. And the carbon dioxide pours out. As we breathe in, we can almost see the exchange in our bodies of the oxygen going in, and then the delivery of the carbon dioxide going back out into the world. And we sit, we feel our chairs on our back, on our bottoms. We feel the pressure of the chair on our bodies. We feel the pressure of the back on our bodies. And in a sense, we sink into our awareness, our sensory awareness. We become aware of everything around us. We become aware in the air in the room that we're in. We become aware of the feeling of our chairs. We become aware of any stray sounds that might be in the environment. We're aware of the temperature, the coolness, or the warmth that is there. Any odors or smells that are in our homes or wherever we happen to be. And as we breathe, we focus our attention on all of those sensory objects. And we become aware that we are inside of them as if they are a cocoon that wraps around us. And we can feel the cocoon touching us. We can start with that touching right up through our legs, through our midsection, up to our shoulders, up through our heads and our minds. We take a deep breath in and we settle ourselves. And we work to open ourselves up, to open up our hearts, to open up our minds, and to allow whatever is there to arise. Whatever thoughts are there, whatever emotions that we carry, whatever we bring with us, whatever our baggage that we are bringing with us to today's session that is in our mind consciousness, that has arisen from our store consciousness where we hold all of this and we see what arises and we look and we spin it around in a big circle and we let it go, and off it floats away. And as it floats away, we come back to our breath to recenter ourselves, to refocus ourselves. And as we are wrapped in this cocoon of our sensory experience, we stay right in the present moment of that sensory experience. And we hear it and feel it and smell it, and we can touch it, and we can see it in our mind. And we see that it is not still, that it is constantly moving and changing, like the planets revolving around the sun, constantly moving, like the earth spinning on an axis, constantly moving, like the clouds in the sky, constantly moving. And so too are our thoughts and our feelings and our sensory experience, constantly moving, always in motion. And we want to slow the process down. We want to look at it in its very granular component parts. So as we feel our chairs that we're sitting in, if we feel the beds that we're sitting on, the floor, the mats, wherever you are, we feel the pressure of our bodies and the weight of our bodies against these things. And we feel that pressure moving inward from the outside to the inside of us. The pressure lessens a little bit as we get further away from the contact point, to where as we get to our center, we don't feel that pressure anymore. It has dissipated. Our body has absorbed that sensation. So we absorb what is external to our internal selves. And as we breathe, we push out what's internal into the external world. And we see this like a cycle. Outside of us, inside of us, outside of us. We breathe in, we breathe out. We feel calm, we breathe out. We feel our lungs fill up, and we breathe out. And through this process, we are reminded that we are not a separate self, as if an object that is not related or connected to things outside of us. but that we are part of what's outside of us, and that we filter it through ourselves. And we can envision that coming in, getting filtered and used in our bodies, the oxygen, the air, being transformed, feeding our muscles, providing us with nutrients, feeding our health. The earth and the atmosphere nurtures us, and it grants us, in a sense, its permission to be part of it, and we give that permission back. And so we are partners, we are connected, we are in some ways one, a whole. And so we want to nurture that whole. So we come back to our breath to center ourselves. And we breathe in and we breathe out. And as we sit in this room, even in this virtual room, miles apart, in some cases almost 1,000 miles apart, by virtue of the shared experience, we become a whole. As if our thoughts and our minds and our sensations are connected to one another, almost like we were revolving around. My voice, our thoughts, our sensations, all as one. And so we are reminded that our actions matter, because just like when we throw a stone into a water and we see the ripples extend out, we are the stone in the water, and we give off the ripples. Or better yet, a better way to think of it, we are like a sponge that we throw in the water. Ripples come out from the sponge absorbs the water. And if we squeeze the sponge, the water comes back out. And if we throw the sponge back in, the ripples are repeated. And so the cycle continues. And we are connected. And so when we squeeze that sponge, the water that we put out matters. In our hearts, in our minds, we have many emotions, many thoughts. We have thoughts of compassion and love, connection, joy, caring. But we also harbor sometimes anger, tension, anxiety, dislike, doubt, instability. We harbor all of those things in us. So as we breathe in and as we breathe out, as we share ourselves as part of a whole, we want to give out the open parts of ourselves, the compassion, the love, the connection, the care. We want to make that the stamp, the ripples in the water that we want to put out there, so they can be absorbed by others, by our presence not just in being there, but our presence in emanating those thoughts and emotions. And so we always want to nurture those. When they arise, when we feel joy and compassion and love and caring, arise in us. We want to look at that, hold it, and we want to feed it. We want to feed it through our thinking and our mind and our thoughts, because it will come and it will go in the world. It will float out. Free floating compassion, free floating caring. As we sit with others, as we are with others, as we are close to others, those feelings, those thoughts are a connection point that others can feel, can sense. In a sense, they can see and hear them as if they have physical qualities, and they get absorbed, and they provide ease and comfort to others. They relieve their discontent, their sense of isolation, in a big picture of their suffering. It relieves it. And so as we give those off, we know that our mindfulness, the practice of our mindfulness, the things we are trying to strengthen in our mindfulness are out there, being amplified, reinforced, as if we can see them. It's like the other person is part of is a piece of metal, and we are magnets, and we send that out. They connect, they link. And so we come back to our breath and we breathe in. And we breathe out. And whatever arises, we welcome to see it, to understand it. Some of it we may not want to feed and nurture, but to tell it, we see you, we know you're there, we know that it is something inside of us, but we will not feed you. We want you to disappear. We want you to transform anger into compassion, to transform hate into love, to transform indifference into caring. And by seeing things and recognizing them and embracing them and nurturing the positive poles of those emotions, we give ourselves agency and ability to reach something beyond ourselves, to reach people beyond ourselves. And those things act almost like the mirror. As they go out and are absorbed by others, they come back to us, because much like our breath goes in and out, our compassion for ourselves comes in and then out to others. Our caring comes in and out to others. And so if we feel anger, we don't want to give that to others. So we want to recognize it and to transform it, to grow inside of it. And for a moment, we come back to our breath, and we breathe in and we breathe out. And we breathe in and we breathe out. And we center ourselves. And we start to take a minute or less to recognize that our meditation time is coming to an end. But before we end, we want to remember that we can be mindful and aware beyond just the sitting moment. And so we hold on to that notion and we remember that. And we know that a place of awareness and mindfulness is a place of compassion and love and help and health. And so we breathe in and we breathe out. Namaste. May the light in me shine in you.